obviously getting into Reiki and crystals and healing. I went to buy some crystals from her. She grabbed me by the hand and she told me, she was like, you need to go and see my brother. And she was like, I'm being guided to tell you this. And she was like, you need to go back to Arizona. I was like, how do you know I was even in Arizona? Like, I was mind blown.
I've got
So,
goosebumps. Welcome to the Brown Girl Rising podcast, where authenticity meets empowerment. I'm Urvashi, your host and your guide on this journey of elevating voices, sharing stories, and navigating the journey of resilience. So, let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome to the Brown Girl Rising podcast. Today I have one of my coaches with me. I have Limitless by Priya on the podcast today. She is a transformational coach for businesses and personal clients, a Reiki master, a life coach, and has been through trauma herself. 2022, I had to leave my fitness business due to ill health and wasn't in a great place at all. And I wasn't also in a great place in my relationship at the time. And Priya came along, and that changed everything when I joined Authentically Aligned. And a lot of my truths and traumas started coming out, if you remember. She even said to me last summer, so that's 2022 summer, but she said to me that in April 23, I would be leaving my job. And I was like, no way, Priya, I am not going to be ready for it. In April 23, shit started hitting the fan at work. And yeah, 2 months later, I'd left my job. So Priya is magic. Welcome, Priya. How are you today?
I am amazing. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here and seeing you absolutely thriving.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited to have you here as one of my favorite coaches I've ever worked with. So, Priya, the first question I'm going to ask you today is, what does it mean to you to be unlimited?
So, for me, this is so hard to answer because I think it's so multifaceted.
Mm.
There's so many elements that go to being unlimited or limitless. And I think it's because we're such multi-dimensional beings, right? Our soul is unlimited, which in turn makes us unlimited. But often we have limitations, self-imposed blocks, societal constraints, trauma, whatever it is. So different perspectives. So in terms of energy, we're all energetic beings, right? The universe is full of unlimited energy that we have access to. And for me, I think it's with the right intention, being in alignment, we can really tap into that infinite source and just really understand that it's an inherent possibility for every single individual to manifest their desires. And so for me, I think that's what it means to be unlimited.
Yeah. So, being completely in alignment with source and spirit and the universe, right?
Exactly, being aligned, being, your authentic self, authentically aligned. And yeah, just tapping into the power that we have within us, as well as that higher vibrational source energy.
That's beautiful. So, Priya, I want to talk about your story. Now, I know that you went around for years with this undiagnosed endometriosis, and literally it came to you in a Reiki session. So, can you take us through what happened and the journey with your endo, please?
Oh gosh, it was a journey and a half. So
Yeah.
I had been experiencing pain in my body since I was about 12, not even 12, 10 years old, probably.
Wow.
I um I started my period when I was 10, so I was
Mm.
quite I didn't really know what was happening at that time. It wasn't really explained to me, so I thought I was dying, dying, something really bad was
Can I just
happening.
say something, right? I was the same. I remember being in the toilet on Christmas when I was 13. So I was a bit 12 or 13. I was a bit later than you. And so I was already kind of astute as a teenager. But when I started bleeding, I literally shouted down the stairs, Mum, my bum's bleeding. I don't know what's happening.
It's frightening, right? It's so scary.
It is.
Um, so that happened, and then all throughout my school life, especially around the time that I was menstruating, I would experience extreme pain, cramping. I would start fainting with the pain. People would joke like my classmates, they would joke that Priya needs a fragile sticker on her head. Like literally, I used to just fall all over the place. I used to be in absolute agony. I can't even recall the amount of times the ambulance had to come and take me away from school. So from
Wow.
10 till my early 20s, I was experiencing that. And it got to a point where I saw multiple doctors, I saw specialists, I even saw a psychologist who told me, oh, it's in her head, maybe she's anxious, maybe she's depressed. I started questioning it myself. I went to school to study psychology to be like, what is wrong with me? Um, it was quite pivotal in my life. And I went through a period of grief. When I was 20, I was my last year of university. My cousin passed away. I ended up moving to Canada, and that was a fight in itself. 20-year-old Punjabi girl saying, "Okay, I'm tapping out. I'm leaving. See you guys later." I had to really fight for that and my independence. And then when I came to Canada, I think that's when I really started on my self-healing journey.
Mm.
And it came to a point where I was experiencing debilitating pain in my legs to the point I was finding it really hard to get out of bed. I was finding it really hard to walk. I was given crutches. I was given a boot because I was experiencing really bad pain in my feet. I was getting sciatic pain, and it came to the point where my legs literally felt like they were going to become paralyzed. And the doctors couldn't give me any answers. So I was at my wit's end. I was researching everything. I was trying absolutely everything that you can think of: Chinese medicine, homeopathy, trigger point injections. It was just absolutely everything. Nothing seemed to be working. And then I actually spent about £30,000 to go to US to Arizona to see a specialist there. He was highly rated. So I was like, okay, I'm going private. I'm going to fly to the States and see what's wrong with me. I went there and, same thing. He did some tests, couldn't really figure out what was happening, put me on this plan. And then whilst I was in Arizona, I went to the Grand Canyon. And I didn't really know much about the Grand Canyon before. I was like, it's a touristy place. I'm in Arizona. I'll check it out.
Yeah.
And while I was there, I had this whoosh of feeling, and it was like it was like a past life regression. It was some kind of, past life had come to me, and I was in the Grand Canyon. My body was on fire. I was like some kind of bird, like huge bird or dragon or whatever it was, but I was on fire. My legs were on fire. I was burning. And this was the exact pain that I was feeling. I was like, this is it. Like, and I had no idea how to interpret this. I was really into manifestation. I was really into psychology, but I wasn't really into energy. I meditated quite a lot. I believed in God and stuff, but I'd never experienced anything like this. When I got back to Vancouver, trying to make sense of it all, someone told me, hey, why don't you try Reiki session? And I was like, what is Reiki? But again, I was willing to try anything. Went to this Reiki session, and during the Reiki session, I was meditating, and I was just pleading to God for an answer. I was like, just please help me at this point. I don't know what's going on with me, but I do not feel good. I felt all this energy during the Reiki session, and the word endometriosis just kept coming to me, and it would not stop. And I had never heard of this before. So at home, and as you do, I Googled it, and I was like, this is what I have. Like, this is what's wrong with me. And I was so relieved, Ush, when I figured it out. But again, I went to several doctors, I went to the specialist, went to gynecologist, and they're like, no, you don't have endo. Like, you don't have typical symptoms. It shouldn't be affecting your legs. You shouldn't be feeling like this. So that was another battle. And then it wasn't until I came home to Birmingham, and there's a private doctor at the Priory there. So I went to see him, and he was like, the only way that we'll know is if we cut you open and do like a laparoscopy to figure out what it is that. So I did that. It came out, and he was like, yeah, you had stage 4 endometriosis. We've taken it out as much as we could. We've stitched you back up. I was groggy. I was like, I knew it was that, but I still had doubts because I'm like, everyone is telling me it's not that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how Reiki energy diagnosed me. And then after that, I became so embedded in energy work. I went back to Arizona and I trained with a shaman for 6 months and really just got to understand like what is a past life regression, what is energy, what came to me, what is spirituality, how do I connect to God, and all of this amazing work that we do.
Wow. Can you tell us about Arizona then? Because that's obviously like something that no Indian woman has done as far as I know, right? Like, it's gone, right, I'm just going to take 6 months out. I'm 20 something years old and I'm just going to go to Arizona and learn from a shaman mum and dad. Bye. How did that go down?
So, you know how I say everything happens in alignment and
Yeah.
divine? It was just that. So, in regards to Arizona, I was in Vancouver. There's a lady here that sells crystals. And so I was, obviously getting into Reiki and crystals and healing. I went to buy some crystals from her. She grabbed me by the hand and she told me, she was like, you need to go and see my brother. And she was like, I'm being guided to tell you this. So I was like, okay. And she was like, you need to go back to Arizona. I was like, how do you know I was even in Arizona? Like, I was mind blown.
I've got
So
goosebumps.
I was absolutely mind blown. So she gave me the details for her brother. I contacted him. It took me a few days because I was a bit shocked.
Yeah.
And I contacted him and he was like, I've been waiting for you. I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, I've been waiting for you. He was like, you came, but you didn't come to me. And I was just like,
Oh my God, I've literally got like shivers all down my spine. I'm like, oh, really?
so that's how that happened. And it was just in complete alignment. So I didn't have my phone for 6 months. I had no access to the outside world. I used to have to go to like outside to use the phone to call my family. And yeah, it was the best experience of my life, but at the same time, it was the hardest experience of my life.
You must have gone deep.
It was deep. I've never cried so much, and I cry a lot. I'm an emotional person. I've never cried so much. I have never felt so much hurt, but I've never felt so much joy. I've never gone within so much. And I've never been so disconnected, but connected.
Mm. So when you say you've never been so disconnected but connected, can you like what I'm assuming you mean is you were more connected to yourself and your soul and disconnected from society, but can you maybe expand on that?
Exactly. So we all have attachments, right? We have attachments to our family, we have attachments to our home, we have attachments to everything. But in that time, I was so disattached from everyone and everything. And I was just me. I was me at my most raw self. And I was learning to accept me in that very raw phase, accepting
Mm.
the trauma, accepting everything that's happened to me, happened for me, not just in this life, but in many previous lives, understanding karma, karmic debts that I brought on with me, understanding. So being disattached from, I guess, worldly things, materialistic things, my phone, even books. We weren't even allowed to have books. So it
Oh,
was
wow. Okay.
but then being so connected in terms of myself, but more so with God and the universe and high vibrational energy and like not even who I am, but who we are. Because in that during that time, I realized that it's not me. Like there's no, I don't exist, and we are one, right?
Okay.
And we are operating as one, and it really took out that I away from me. And I think I dropped a lot of ego, which I didn't even realize I was holding on to. And by dropping the I and the me and realizing that we come from something that's truly amazing and we've chosen to be here and there's certain karmic debts that we're having to repay, and really understanding this process That's what I mean by being fully connected.
So do you really think that we are all connected? Now I say that because there are some really messed up people in this world. How can I or you, decent people, yeah, nice human beings, be connected to, say, I don't know, Kim Jong-un, for example, or even like what's his name, Donald Trump? Like, I cannot imagine we are of the same planet.
So this is where again it's dropping the judgment and it's dropping the ego, because we all come from one. We all come from the same place, right? Everyone here has a different journey and a different path. Some people are here and we're supposed to be getting rid of karma, but we're accumulating more. And no matter what we do, and every day we're accumulating karma, but we want to be paying it off as much as possible.
Mm.
But not everyone has this awareness or higher awareness of who we are and why we're here. So some people do really bad things, or some people are still connected to the I so much that they make their life about that. But again, we're not here to judge anyone.
Mhm.
Only, God, the universe, whatever the vibrations that you give out can be a judge of that. But regardless, we're still connected. Regardless, we're all on the same planet at the same time. We all have some kind of purpose, whether we ever meet this person or not, or directly influence their life or our life. They're directly influencing your life right now because you're aware of them. You know that you want nothing to do with this person, or this is a really bad way to behave. So
If I step into North Korea, I'm probably going to get shot, but yeah.
in that way, you're fully connected. They've had some kind of influence in your life.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. So I want to go back to you being an Indian girl, and you've broken so many cultural barriers that there are kind of in place, right? By saying at 21, see you later, I'm going, then going, I'm going to go to stay with a shaman. How has that impacted kind of your family, your parents, and what did people think of you in your family? It must have been a bit of a shock for them.
Yeah. So initially, it was a huge shock. People didn't really understand why. Not even my family, like my friends from school, or maybe she's pregnant, she's running away, or yeah, or she's running away from home. She's not in a good like home environment. She doesn't want to be around her parents. So people had a lot of things to say, which was pretty crazy. My dad was the most supportive person, and I thought he would be the worst. I thought he'd be like, "No, you're not going." He was the one that told me to go and follow your dreams and create opportunities. And really, I think he regrets it now because he's like, "Okay, so you're going to be living in Canada forever." My mom was like, "No, you're not going. You're not going. Why would you want to go? Why would you want to leave?" And she couldn't understand that I would ever want to leave her. And it's not that I wanted to leave her, it's just that I had to go on my own journey and explore. And my sister, who I'm very close to, she was very emotional. Nobody believed that I could do it because I was such a homebody, Ush. Literally, I would just want to be home all the time. I was so dependent on my parents. I was so spoiled. So it came as a shock to me. But I had a reading about 2 years prior to this, and it was a tarot reading, and they just told me, "You're going to live abroad, you're going to go abroad." And I was like, I would never do that. I was like, I can't even fathom doing that. And then 2 years later, there I am. And then I started doing, all this stuff online. It took me a while to get online and start doing what I was doing my meditations and talking about manifestations. And then I would have like aunts saying, "Oh, Priya's become some kind of sant, like a priest," or, saying like really. So there's always going to be talk. There's always going to be people that don't fully understand. There's always going to be people that judge. But I just let it go. I was like, this is my experience, and I'm not going to let anyone affect it. And it was emotional. I found it so hard to be away from my family, because I didn't even move away for university. I lived at home for uni.
No way. And so you went to Vancouver. Oh, like, that's insane. Not even, "Hey guys, I'm going to London." To Vancouver.
And even that move to Vancouver, like I was just drawn to it. I had no idea why I wanted to be here. I was just completely drawn. And then when I was here, I was like, I'm home.
And then you met the love of your life.
And then I live in my
So
life.
you were drawn to Vancouver because your soulmate was there, right? Like that's where you were meant to be, which is incredible.
Yeah, 100%. Part of it for sure. But
Yeah.
Vancouver given me so much. It gave my life back.
I love that. That's so beautiful. Um, so you said something about letting it all go. Do you think that the only way we can be happy is by just letting things go and kind of like water off a duck's back? Because I know that, you know, if you're in some kind of a relationship and something's happened and you hold on to it, I mean, you're only hurting yourself, right? So what are your thoughts about how we can be happy?
I think there's two perspectives to letting it go. One perspective is letting it go and truly surrendering it to the universe and having complete faith that everything
Mm,
is working in your favor. And then one perspective is let it go, but not really deal with what's happening
right.
and brush it off, brush it under the carpet. So this letting go, absolutely amazing. Surrender it and be free. But this letting go where you're suppressing,
Mm,
not releasing,
mm,
is really for you. So you have to deal with the shit. You have to heal from the trauma
mm,
and surrender it and release and truly, truly be free from it
mm.
and to move forward.
Yeah, that was actually my next question. Like, do you think that actually our one of our purposes, if that's even a word, on this planet is to literally go deep and heal our trauma? Is that what we're here to do?
I think so, yeah. I think one of the biggest reasons that we are here is because of karma. Truly believe in karma and past karma, but we don't know. Most of us don't know what we've brought along with us from past lives, right? And then we accumulate so much trauma and karma in this lifetime. But what we don't really understand or realize is the trauma that we experience in this life usually is due to karma from a past life. We have to pay back a debt.
Mm.
And so,
Why do we have to pay back a debt though?
because everything is energy and energy has to be reciprocated, it's just the law of energy.
Hmm. Okay.
So, there's lessons that we need to learn. There's lessons for our soul, and we choose to come back. We choose to learn these lessons.
Yeah.
We choose to do that to transcend to higher realms. So, it's all predetermined to a certain extent. And then that's where we get to come here and then begin to create our own reality around our destiny.
So I know that you are a spiritual soul, but I also know that you are religious. So how did those two kind of interlink for you? Because I think some people see it as like as black and white as science and religion, which I don't think it is. But I've had people go, I'm religious and that's my spirituality. But then there's other people who are like, I'm spiritual and I'm all about the crystals and the saging and the Palo Santo and, you know, and the angels. So like, and obviously the angels come from, I guess, the Christian religion. How do you see all of this, spiritual religion?
So for me, I don't see it as anything different. Spirit, it's just different names that it's been given. For me, spirituality and religion is the exact same thing. It's connecting.
Isn't religion an institution?
Um, so I wouldn't say I identify
Mm.
as a specific religion. If somebody asks me what religion are you, I would say I'm a spiritual being.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I identify as a specific religion. I identify with all religions. I identify with the basis of all religions.
Mm.
I do, agree with you that religion is an institution, 100%. Um, but the basis of religion isn't. The basis of religion is spirituality.
Mm.
It's the man-made concept of religion that's made it an institution.
Mm. Yeah. And then obviously because of religion, there's been like wars and things around the world. And yeah, religion, I don't know. For me, it's like I obviously have been brought up Hindu. I identify as being a Hindu. and I know you're Sikh, right? But I would say I'm more Buddhist in the way I live my life, like that kind of trying to be that peaceful, everyone is the same type energy. Definitely spiritual. But religion, I think, was just it's been man-made, created to keep people within a box, is what I
Yeah.
think. Like, you follow this path, you'll go up to heaven. You follow this path, you will come back as, I don't know, whatever, And so for me, sometimes I can't quite get my head around religion. And so someone says, like, what are you? And I just go, I'm spiritual, even though I have, like, in Hinduism, there's like thousands of gods. I have my specific gods that I like, have in my house. I have a mixture of Ganesh and Buddha and this, that, and the other in my house. And angels all around. So you could say I'm a hybrid.
I agree. I think I'm the exact same. I wouldn't say that I'm Sikh. I'm not a true Sikh. I'm not.
Well,
There's
then
a
I
lot.
could say the same thing. I'm not a true Hindu, right? Yeah.
There's nothing. I had a Sikh wedding. I did the four lava, but before I did the four lava, I truly understood what what they meant
Mm,
and what I was committing to. And for me, it was all spiritual. It was
mm,
a completely spiritual process, and that's why I decided to have the Sikh wedding.
yeah.
We eloped beforehand, so we were technically legally already married. Um, but yeah, again, I take concepts from Hinduism, from Buddhism, from
Mm,
Christianity,
mm,
from my own take of how I've experienced God and how I connect with God.
yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't say I identify with any one religion. I wouldn't say that religion is all bad. I think the basis, the foundation of religion is amazing. It's just the man-made concepts that have come into play that have created things like wars and cultural differences.
100%. Yeah. 100%. So you said something just now. I eloped. Wow. This Sydney Sunday girl from Birmingham moves to Vancouver, disappears to Arizona, and then goes, "Hey, parents, I've eloped." Like, what?
So it wasn't as bad as it sounds. So we had a whole Indian engagement and everything beforehand. Parents, both sides of parents loved
Okay.
us, both agreed. So it wasn't like we secretly eloped or that
You didn't
parents
go down
didn't.
to Gretna Green or anything.
Because we had questions with like, why did you guys elope? Like the parents not agree, the difference in whatever. We were like, no, it had nothing. We didn't even think that people would have these questions.
Mm.
We just wanted to do us. Um, we just wanted to celebrate love, celebrate being married, just us.
Yeah.
Because ultimately it's about us. And obviously families, we did the whole family thing as well. But we wanted to go to a place that we loved. We both loved being by the water, being by the mountains. We wanted to just say our vows in private to each other. And it's so funny because the lady who married us, she was saying all these things, like when you meet the love of your life, when you're authentically aligned, and it's meant to be, and all these words that we use, and it's not normal. And we just really felt like the universe and God was speaking to us through her. So everything about it was just magical. And it was just because we just wanted to get married, celebrate love, and just do
Yeah,
us.
because I guess when you have the big fat Indian wedding, it becomes about everybody else. And when you go to a wedding, people end up like just chit chatting in the background, like even in the good world, like you'll hear people in the background, right? And it just becomes less about the bride and the groom and the love and the reason that they're getting married, and more about kind of, oh, it's an occasion, let's just party.
Yeah, and we had the big Indian wedding, and honestly, it was for us, but it was for everyone else. And I'm so happy that it was because everyone played a role. My
Mm.
dad had their own role, my mom had his, my siblings had their own role, my aunts and uncles, and they thoroughly enjoyed being in that role. So I'm really happy that I got to experience that with them too.
Mm.
So, like both ways, it was amazing.
Mm. I've noticed that on Instagram, you've started putting a lot about weddings up and the spiritual part of the wedding. Like, what's made you share that kind of stuff now on kind of your profiles?
So, I've never been big on social media.
Yeah.
And I don't really share a lot of my private life on it. Um, Honestly, I'm just really happy, and I feel like sharing this part, but also I just feel like I want to educate people about marrying the love of your life and how important it is to find your soulmate and what that looks like and how that feels. And I don't know if it's coming across through my videos, but understanding that it's possible, because
Mm.
in my life that I never thought it would be possible. So yeah, like just truly being in love, it's an amazing feeling.
You
And
looked like you're in love so much. Like, you're just chatting and you're just literally glowing.
it's amazing. And like, I know you've had conversations about this in the past as well. And it's like, is there really a soulmate out there? Is it going to happen? And it's just like, it happens. And when it happens, it just happens like that. And you don't even realize it. Um, so yeah, I think that's why I've been sharing, and hopefully people find joy in seeing me
That's
happy.
beautiful. Yeah. Um, on that note, actually, I remember you told me that you manifested your husband. Can you tell us the process you went through to manifest him? Because, there are people out there like myself who are still single, finally over the wrong person or the wrong timing, whatever, and ready to find my soulmate, like completely ready, and I'm like, what, 10 years older than you or something. But like, how did you, what was the process you went through to manifest? I think his name's Raj, right?
Yes, Raj, yes.
Roger. Yeah.
So so I talk a lot about conscious manifesting and unconscious manifesting, right? So this was a little bit of both. And
Okay.
I remember the day so clearly, and it was almost 2 years ago now. Um, and what happened was I was sitting in Vancouver, downtown, Cold Harbor, right by the water. I could see that I had a view of the water, the mountains, and I just sat there and I was sitting on the grass, completely grounding. And I just took a deep breath in and I just said, Universe, I'm ready. And I was truly ready. And I didn't even know in that moment what I was ready for. I
Oh.
just said, I'm ready. Like, I'm ready now. And then I wrote down, I wrote down certain things that I want in my life. Um, and I had only just moved back to Vancouver because during COVID, I was in the UK. I'd moved back to Vancouver and I was feeling a little bit unsettled. And so I was like, I'm ready to be settled in whatever form or way that means. And, I had already written out, because I tell my clients this, I had already written out the key attributes that I want in a man, in a husband. So I already was very clear on that vision, how I want to be loved, how I perceive love, how I give love, and all of these things that were,
Mm.
some people have a checklist. I want him to be tall, I want him to be this tall and have this kind of job and earn this much money. For me, the list was completely different. It was
Mm.
really love. And that gave me a lot of insight about myself, understanding my love language and who I am and how I'm actually able to give love as well.
Mm.
Uh, and then and then when I said that I'm ready, I felt tingles in my body. And literally a few days later, we met. And it was like serendipity. And it was so funny because we both were so, like, we were like a magnet. We were so connected to each other, but we both tried to stay away for so long
Oh.
because he had just gotten out of a relationship and it was a long-term relationship. He was engaged. He was not ready to be in a committed relationship. I didn't think I was ready because I was on my new journey of being
Mm.
back in Vancouver, finding myself, business. So we both tried to stay away from each other for a while, but we kept coming back to each other. We kept bumping into each other, and the universe just kept drawing us closer and closer together. the funniest thing is whenever we would go out, we weren't even dating at this point. People would just ask us, like, how long have you guys been married? Or when's the wedding? Or, you guys are so cute. And like literally everywhere we went, it was so random for someone to say that, how long have you guys been married? So we would just look at each other like, what the hell is going on? And we were just so in alignment. We just had so much fun. And
Mm.
we would go dancing and have the best time. And it would just be like, it was just the two of us in the room. Or we would go stargazing and like go on a journey to go and find the Northern Lights. And
Dream romance.
yeah, but it wasn't planned. Nothing was
Yeah.
ever planned. It just happened.
Sounds so beautiful. Priya, you are the queen of manifestation. That's what I'm going to say. Like,
And we all are though.
yes, but you have learned to work and co-create with the universe in such magical ways that it blows my mind, right? And I say that as a person who has created something incredible herself in terms of, I was like, I want to do a retreat in Thailand, and within 3 weeks it sold out. And then I want to do a retreat in Bali, and then all of a sudden I hadn't even like promoted it and it's sold out, right? So
So that intention and that
the
consciousness.
intention, for some reason though, I'm not getting the love thing right, and I don't know what's going on, so we need to talk. But so as the queen of, I'm going to give you that title, as the queen of manifestation and co-creating with the universe, what kind of tips and what can you say to the people listening on this podcast? How can you advise them to start working with the universe? Like, what are the steps? Because you can't just go, hey universe, I want £1 million, because it's not going to drop into your lap, right?
For me, I would say the first step is healing, understanding
Mm,
yourself, understanding your trauma, understanding your blocks, because without the awareness of what's holding you back, it's very hard to manifest because it'll keep holding you back. So I would say the first step is awareness and being ready to be on that healing journey. Um, and then I think it's really all about raising your vibration, becoming aware of the frequency that you're operating from and raising it to the point where you are in alignment with universal energy and having complete faith, right? Just believe that the universe is working for you, not against you, and just have faith that everything is working in your favor. And it's all happening. It's all coming together.
yeah. Okay, spanner. Okay. So say someone who is literally making ends meet every month, right? And they're struggling. How would you advise them to start believing and having that faith that actually good is coming into their lives? Because actually, when you're in such a 3D world where you're paying bills, you're feeding mouths, you're going to work from 9 till like 10 every night or whatever it is, how can you then go, I believe there's something better out there for me and I can co-create this, when you're so in the 3D?
I think that's when people manifest the best.
Oh,
It's rock bottom and there's nowhere else to fall. It's like, why not? Right? Why not try this? Why not believe this? Why not surrender and give some of this pain away to God, to the universe? And why not just allow myself to be held in this moment and have complete faith? So the way that I see it is imagine yourself being wrapped in a blanket and literally being held like a baby. And in that moment, you let go and you release and you believe because you're being held, right? You know that you're being cared for and you're being protected. So go from that. I guess it's a mindset shift, but go from that mindset of I can't do this and everything's gone to shit to actually I'm okay. It's not that bad. Like it could be worse. And then growing from there. It just starts with a little bit. A little bit of gratitude will automatically raise your vibration.
yeah.
But you have to be ready as well for the journey. And I say this to everyone because I have clients come to me like, Priya, I want to do a past life regression. Or Priya, I want to do this and I'm ready. And I'm like, you're not ready. I'm like, energetically, you're not ready. So So, and I had a client actually, she was my client for about a year, and then, she was doing really well. She manifested absolutely everything that she wanted. She wanted a house, she wanted a great relationship with her kids. She manifested absolutely everything that she wanted. And she was like, okay, I'm done now. I'm going to graduate and, do my thing. And then she was aligned to work with another coach slash healer, and she did a lot of work, but the work was very deep. And she came back to me and she said, Priya, I can't take it. She was like, I'm miserable, I'm depressed, I'm anxious. And she was like, it's on my mind all the time. I just can't shift it. Also, I think there's a right time for everything and to be ready for everything too. So don't try and force it. You'll know when you feel aligned.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can vouch for that when you say that, because I remember that I wanted to try past life regression. You just said, no, you're not ready. And we never did it, actually.
But I think you're ready now. So when you're ready.
Maybe we should do it live. Oh my God, that would be crazy. No, that's personal stuff, that is.
That's brave, but let's do it.
You think I'm ready now?
Your energy is definitely much readier. And I always say, do these things when you are at a higher vibration of being, because not only can you understand it better, you can navigate and direct your life better, you can heal from it better. Because if you do it at a time where your vibration is quite low and you're already feeling quite down, it can take you down that vortex of, anxiety and depression and things like that, because it's not always a pleasant experience.
You're an incredible coach. You really are. You help me in times when, we found traumas that I didn't even realize were traumas, right? And I remember being on a call with you and I was bawling my eyes out in the group call. And I was like, how is this even a trauma? It was like not even something that registered like at all. But I was, oh my God, it was such a release. And now that is something that I talk about quite a lot now. So you are an incredible coach. I want to thank you for being who you are, doing what you do, helping the people you help, me included in that. And also, like, if somebody wants to get in contact with you, how do they do that? How do they work with you? How do they find you across the web?
Sure. Firstly, thank you for being amazing. And I love this because I always say to my clients, and you guys are the best testimonial, which you are, because look at you, you're doing amazing and you commit to doing the work. And same with the people that you work with, you're able to help them because of the journey that you've been on. So thank you for trusting in me. So best way to get hold of me is Instagram at Limitless by Priya, or my website, which is limitlessbypriya.com. And I've got a few courses that are already there. And I'm only taking very limited one-to-one clients. But yeah, just Limitless by Priya. Come find me, drop me a message if you feel aligned. But otherwise, thank you so much for having me.
So beautiful. And if guys, you ever get the chance to do Authentically Aligned, I would be like, get on it straight away, get on it, especially if you're in a place in your life where you feel like there's a lot going on and you can't see the wood from the trees. I would say contact Priya and do this course. It's on her site. 100% do it. Priya, thank you so much for your time. Guys, another epic episode. I will be with you on the next one. See you then.